Hi, hey, Pamela here, and I would like to share with you an experience I had related to birth trauma. And I know in our culture, many times people say, either, oh, it was wonderful and that's over, or it was really hard, but now it's over. But I would like to tell you that from my experience and many other people's experience who I've been studying with here, their birth trauma actually is a repetitive theme in their lives, and I got to play that out. It was really incredible because I had the afternoon off. I thought I'd go hiking. It's a beautiful place here, wide open, and I hiked up to this little cliff area, and I was just looking out. It's so gorgeous, and I just planned to be gone for a little while. I just planned to go up there and hang out for a little bit and come back. But then I met this woman, and she was really cool. And she said, hey, do you want to go over to the Pueblo area where they have all these broken shards and, these people live there for 1,500 years? It sounded cool and she was nice. So I said, yeah, let's go. And usually I always track back so I know where I am. I had no map. I had nothing like water or anything like that. So we hiked and hiked and hiked. I didn't know we were going to be gone that long, but it was just one of those things, We kept hiking, saw this place. It was really cool. And then she said on the way down, we had looped around. So I didn't know where I had come from, really, because we were already coming around this back area. And she said, that one of her friends had just died. She said, I just want to go up there and grieve by myself for a while. Goodbye. And what are you going to say to that? I said, okay. So she went off and she said, just, you'll find it. But I walked and I walked and I walked. And at first it was kind of fun, but then I started seeing mountain lion tracks. And then I was like, wow, I'm getting thirsty. I have no water. And, the sun was starting to go down. I'm like, oh, crap. So I walked this way for a long ways and it just didn't feel right to me. I walked another way and I saw nothing. I mean, there was nothing as far as I could see. And then I got to this point where it was around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I started to get scared because the sun was going down, and I'm like, oh crap. I mean, it gets to be 19 degrees here at night. Nobody knew where I was. And at one point, I looked down this big canyon, all kinds of jagged rocks and everything, and I was saying, well, you gotta go down. It's always good to go down, but I thought that's so dangerous to just go down in there. So I hiked up around this other area, and that didn't feel right to me either. It just felt like it was going nowhere. And I'd been the other way already. So what we're learning in this SOAS class is to really tune into our animal nature and to learn from our biointelligence. And I was out there, on my own. And so I just paused for a minute and I got this feeling, go that way, trust that. I'd already been there, but I said, try it again. And I tried it again, but I'll tell you, at this point when the sun was going down, and I was kind of thinking I might have to sleep out here, every fear, I could feel this fear in me. And there's a big difference between fear that's just habitually there or this real fear that it's like, oh shit, this is not good. But I eventually kept walking that other direction, and I started to hear cars, and I was so happy because I'd been walking miles and miles and miles and without seeing anything. So I thought, even if it doesn't lead me back to the resort, at least I can find somebody who will, give me a ride or something. Anyway, I got down there, and I've never been so happy in my life to be in my little room with my candle. And then I couldn't sleep that night because I was thinking, wow, that was so close to you really not making a good choice. And at 2 o'clock, I thought, I'm just going to listen to a meditation. So I scrolled through, I've got like 100 meditations and recordings on my iPhone. And I just randomly picked one, and it was from last year when I had a Skype session with Anna. I can't think of her name, but I'll put it in the description. Anna is this birth expert. I'm not really sure what she calls herself, but she helped me understand my birth, and it was so good. And then when I listened to the recording, I realized how I've just been reliving that, because my birth was so traumatic. My arms, my mom's arms were locked down, but if the mother is feeling that, you're also feeling it, right? You're feeling it kind of magnified. And I mean, it was, I don't know if I should go into all the details. You want to hear? She almost lost her life. One of the nurses fainted because I was a breech baby. I came out backwards, which just caused all kinds of problems you can imagine. And they, like Anna said, she goes, what kind of hands do you think caught you? What was your first impression of coming into this world? And if you think about the doctors, they were late, and so the nurses were holding her legs together, and so they were kind of upset, I would imagine. Fear because of one of the nurses passing out. So the hands that caught me were just like, yeah. And that's, I'm not being a victim here. I'm just saying that's the experience. And when we don't become conscious of it, we can relive that experience. So I was whisked away. I was just by myself. And I mean, I'm learning more about birth, but it's really important to be on the mother's belly, her chest, and get that, the hormones and all of that stuff. I had none of that, whisk away. And that's what it felt like. Really, when I was listening to her talking in that recording, I'm like, that's exactly how I felt on the mountain. I felt all alone. I felt scared. I felt a lot of different things. But then I could see how I was just reliving it out. And then this woman, Jennifer was her name, she said that she had just lost a good friend of hers. Maybe I said that already, I don't know. But she went off to grieve by herself. And there's a line in my show where I am talking about the scene of the Dairy Princess. If you've seen it, it's very funny. But I lost, and my mom at the end, I was very humiliated, very shamed. And when we were driving home, we didn't say anything for a long time. And then finally my mom said, if you need a good cry, you just go out to the grove like I do. But when you're around people, you got to keep a stiff upper lip. And that woman went off to grieve by herself. And what I've learned in all the grief workshops I've done is that we really need a container. You know, we need a group of people to really do the grieving. And then in this workshop, I'm also learning about the lineage too. The lineage, that stiff upper lip. We have what's called the frozen white spine, where we came, you know, if you weren't born here, you came from somewhere, Germany or Italy or France or someplace that was persecuted. They didn't come across the ocean for a joyride. They came over here to get away because they were being dominated. That's kind of a whole nother topic, but it's really interesting to take a look at that, how they were running, and a lot of us have been running for a lot of our lives. Even if we've been living in the same place for all of our life, there's something in us that's just kind of running and just kind of scared. So it really is, I am so grateful for that experience. Even though it was really scary and it could have been a lot worse, I'm just so grateful that I can take a look, a deeper look, so I don't have to keep playing that out. And that is what we do. We keep playing out the imprint of our birth. And you may or may not agree with that. And maybe you had, I've been hearing all kinds of stories here, and to me, it makes a lot of sense. So if your mother is still alive, I would go to her and just playfully ask. Don't ask her like, hey, how was my birth? Because she's going to say, oh, it was all worth it and you're a good baby. But if you just find out some of the details, like, was Dad there? Or what were you doing right before? Or even when when I was conceived, what was going on in your life at that time? If your mother is alive, you have an incredible opportunity to ask some of those questions and to learn more about yourself. And with awareness, that's the first step to healing so much. So thank you for being with me on my YouTube channel. I will show you a little bit of this Ojo Caliente. Wonderful hot springs here and minerals. It's really a very nice healing retreat. So anyway, take care. Talk to you later.